What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel into another college basketball video. We got a ton of college basketball action going down Sunday, March 23rd. We got the College Basketball Invitational tipping off, and we also have day number 2 and the final day of round number 2 in the NCAA Tournament. So I got one play that I like for that College Basketball Invitational and 3 plays that I'm looking at in the NCAA Tournament. So we're going to go over each of those 4 plays here in this video, break them down, and analyze them a bit further. So let's not waste any time, guys. Smash that like button down there for me. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's jump right on into it. Let's look at that college basketball invitational game first. Looking at Incarnate Word and Manhattan, and I'm looking at the total in this one. It's sitting at 143.5, and you can get that at minus 115 over there at DraftKings. Now, looking at the Ken Palms, we can see that these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams with 2 pretty poor defenses, right? We got Incarnate Ward coming in at 246 overall, and Manhattan coming in at 236. And then we also have Incarnate Ward sitting at 192 offensively, Manhattan sitting at 142. Now, like I said, very poor defenses, right? Incarnate Ward coming in at 294, Manhattan coming in at 317. Now, Incarnate Ward, they prefer to play at a very slow pace. They sit at 329th in terms of adjusted tempo, but they've still given up an average of 71 points per game in their last 5, despite that slower pace. Manhattan as a favorite on the year, 7-3 with 1 push to the over, and they are 5-1 when they come into a game with a rest advantage. And coming into this one, they're going to have a 3-day rest advantage. But despite playing to the under more on the season, Incarnate Ward has gone 3-0 to the over when they come into a game with a rest disadvantage, and they also have gone 3-0 to the over when they play at a neutral site this season, which they will be at here in this one. And then looking at both of these teams playing in non-conference play, Incarnate Ward is 5-2 to the number, Manhattan 7-1 to the over, not to the number. Incarnate Ward 5-2, Manhattan 7-1, and that's when both of these teams are playing outside of their conference. Okay, jump over here to Outlier, look at this total a little bit further. Let's look at these teams in their last 5 games. Like I said, Incarnate Ward has played to the under more often than not on the season, right? We can see 80% to the under in the last 5, looking at this 143.5 line. But let's look at that a little bit closer, and we can see 4 of those 5 games, they have still hit at least 70 points. They had that one game that they come in at 57, but those other 4, they're hitting at least over 70. It's the opposition that really isn't holding up their end in a lot of games. 67 from the opponent, 68 and 61 here, which has us landing underneath of those lines. One of those games, we're landing right there on the hook at 143. So I definitely like Incarnate Ward to be able to put up enough points here against a very, very poor Manhattan defense, and I definitely like Manhattan to be able to do the same, right? And they are already coming in, kind of killing the over in the last 5 for sure, 80% coming in over this 143.5 line, and then that one that came under that 143.5 landed right at 142, so pretty damn close in itself. Like I said, I like this over at 143.5, and we can get that at minus 115 across the board. FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM. All right, next up, I'm looking at the Duke Blue Devils taking on the Baylor Bears. Duke is 11.5-point favorites, and I like them laying those 11.5 points over there. And we can get that at BetMGM for minus 118. Now, Duke on the year, looking at them against the spread, they played well to the number, man, 23-12. Baylor, on the other hand, is covered in just 13 of the 33 games that they have played this season. Duke is also, they're 22-12 when they're a favorite. Baylor just 3-7 with 2 pushes as a dog. Baylor's also 5-1 to the number in non-conference play. Duke 8-4. Duke has also been made double-digit favorites 25 times this season. They have covered 17 of those games. Looking at the Ken Palms, we can see the disparity between these two teams, right? Baylor sitting at 29th overall, Duke 1st. Baylor 16th offensively, Duke 3rd. Baylor 58th defensively, Duke 4th, right? And they play about at the same tempo, right? Baylor pretty slow, playing at 320, but Duke's not flying up and down the court by any means. They're playing at a 262nd rated adjusted tempo. Here's the thing, man. Duke is looking tough, right? And they were looking tough all throughout the regular season. Cooper Flag went down. They still were coming away with victories. The games were getting a little closer, but they're still winning these games because they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of size. They have a lot of athleticism. They're a very, very good team, top to bottom. Cooper Flag looked like himself in round 1, and that is scary, man, for the rest of this nation, in my opinion. I question how Baylor, or really honestly any team, can hang with this Duke team. To me, they're the clear-cut favorite right now in the tournament, coming into the tournament, and so far in the tournament as well. Duke is still the clear-cut favorite to me. Baylor has played pretty inconsistently throughout the season as well. They have suffered multiple double-digit losses when facing higher quality opponents, including Tennessee, Gonzaga, Texas Tech, Houston, Iowa State, Arizona. This crowd, they should also be pretty Duke heavy as well. This game's being played in Raleigh, North Carolina, with, Baylor struggles offensively on top of it. Duke should be able to utilize a defense, man, that sits fourth in adjusted defensive ratings, and they should really be able to stifle this Bears offense, in my opinion. We could jump over here to Outlier. Let's look at this one a little bit closer. Look at Duke on the defensive side of things going up against that Baylor offense. We can see Duke sitting at second in terms of effective field goal percentage for the opposition. Baylor all the way down at 151 in terms of effective field goal percentage for their offense. And I mean, we can go up and down here and just start seeing the disparity between that Baylor offense and that Duke defense. Baylor sitting at 100th in terms of points per game at just under 77 points per game, excuse me. And then Duke's defense sitting at 6th, giving up under 62 points per game. Field goal percentage, they're just sitting at 4th in terms of field goal percentage allowed to the opposition, 2nd in terms of 2-point field goal percentage, 32nd in terms of 3-point field goal percentage. And Baylor's offense, 171, 204, and 100th in those categories, right? And we can go up here and we can flip this. Let's look at Baylor's defense against Duke's offense, and it's just more of the same story, right? So right up here at the same spot, effective field goal percentage, Baylor's offense sitting at 202, Duke 6th, right? Let's scroll on down. Let's look at the points. Duke 12th in terms of points per game, 83.5 points. Baylor, 98th, giving up 69 points per game. Look at the field goal percentage, 2-point percentage, and 3-point percentage given up by the Baylor defense, 156, 147th, and 251st. Duke sitting at 12th, 16th, and 9th in those respective categories, right? Baylor is just 57th for adjusted defense. They've struggled both on the perimeter and inside. That's not going to do them any favors going up against this Duke team, man, that is hitting at a 67% rate from inside and 38% from deep right now, right? And I mean, it's just, I don't see any chance for Baylor in this one, guys, like I said. And we can look at this insight here. It's just more bad news for Baylor, right? 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games when playing top 25 scoring defenses. Now, the thing is, we can look at this and we can see Baylor's, they're covering that 11.5-point line in their last 5 games. Nobody's really like blowing them out per se, but Duke's a step up in competition from everybody that they have played so far. So I definitely like Duke, like I said, man, minus 11.5, and we can get that at minus 118 over there at BetMGM. All right, next up, I'm going to be looking at St. Mary's taking on Alabama, and I am looking at the total in this one, over 148.5, and we can get that at minus 110 right now over there at BetMGM. St. Mary's, they've been an under team all season, but it's not for a lack of offense by any mean. This team sits at 59th in the Ken Pom rankings as far as offensive ratings. So it's not, like I said, it's not the offense here. It's the fact that they play at one of the slowest paces in the nation. They are 360th for adjusted tempos in the Ken Poms. And they also roll out the 7th rated defense as well in the Ken Poms. Alabama, man, they don't, they not only roll out the solid defense as well at 34th, but they also play at the fastest pace in the nation, 1st overall in adjusted tempo, and they are 4th offensively in the Ken Poms as well. Now, the Crimson Tide, they've hit over in 7 of their last 10. They've been able to impose their will, man. They push the tempo and pace in every single game that they played. And like I said, the Gales ranking outside of the top 150 for points per game. That has nothing to do with their offensive abilities and everything to do with the pace that they play. They rank 36th in offensive efficiency. So I think that they'll be able to get some shots up here, and I think that they're going to be able to score and get some points up as well and kind of contribute to this over. I think that, Alabama, like I said, they dictate the pace of every game that they play. I don't think that St. Mary's is going to be able to slow this one down and grind it out like they would like to, but I don't think that their offense takes a big hit because of that. They're a very efficient offense, so I do think that they will still find good looks. They will be forced to pick up the tempo a little bit, so we will see some more points out of St. Mary's than what we're used to. I do think that their defense can give Alabama some troubles. I think that they can slow them down to a certain degree, but they're not going to stifle and stop this team, right? Alabama's going to get theirs end of the day. Like Bama, they obviously they lead the nation in scoring. They're sitting at 91 points per game. And man, they sleptwalk in that first round, right? Most of that first round game against Robert Morris, right? I know the name. Yeah, that team, they came to play, guys. They really did. With about 7 minutes to play, Alabama found themselves down by 1, and that's when they finally woke up, right? And I was watching that game just irate because then they looked exactly how I thought they would look for the entirety of the game. I was laying to that 21.5 points with Alabama. I've had a handful of you comment in the comments since then. That pick was trash. Yeah, it sure was, wasn't it? Man, but I fully expected this Alabama team to run up and down the court and play with the same energy and efficiency that they played with for that final 7 minutes of that game, man. When they woke up, they put the Colonials away with ease, right? They really did. And the thing is they didn't do it at all on the defensive end. It was all offensively. All offensively. You go back and watch the end of that game, and Robert Morris is still coming down, knocking down shots. Alabama's just knocking in more. Right? They remind me a lot. I'm going to show my age a little bit here. They remind me a lot of those old Phoenix Sun teams with Steve Nash. Even the Mavs when Nash was there with Nowitzki. It's like, bro, they weren't worried about guarding anybody. It don't matter because we're just going to score more points than you. You try to stop us. How about that? And that's what Alabama reminds me of. So I definitely see them dictating the pace in this game, just like they have all season long, forcing St. Mary's to kind of roll at the tempo that they want them to roll at. And I like an over. And just pop it over here to Outlier, we can see, it looks like, Vegas is liking an over as well. It opened up at 147.5. This line is starting to move. We can see it at 148.5. Now, granted, we did just go up just 1 point, but we are moving in that direction, favoring the over. Looking at the last 10, it's just a clear example of what I was saying, how these two teams are just like, it's the definition of teams that play two totally different ways, right? You got one team playing at a snail pace, relying on defense, and the other team trying to run and gun and run you right off of the court. St. Mary's 100% to the under, looking at this 148.5 line in their last 10. Alabama 100% to the over. And it's been that way much of this season, right? You can look at it for the course of the season, 82% to the under for St. Mary's, 91% to the over for Alabama. On the course of the season, Alabama's only gone underneath of this line right here 3 times the entire season, right? That 82% is scary for St. Mary's, right? But let's look at this insight. Makes it a little bit better. We can see that the over is hit in 4 of St. Mary's last 5 games when they play against a bottom 25 scoring defense, which they are doing here. That's an 80% hit rate to the over. So like I said, man, I do like this one over 148.5. You can get that right now at BetMGM. That's giving us the best price, minus 110. All right, last up, I'm looking at New Mexico and Michigan State. And this one, I'm not 100% sure yet how I want to play it. Looking at the total, I'm also looking at Michigan State. I think I like the total more than anything. It's sitting at 147.5 right now. This is one that definitely make sure you check down into the pinned comment later on. I always put the link down there for the Guy Boston Sports website. That's where my final plays are always going to live. And you can see which way we end up rolling with this game here. Like I said, I do like the total. It's sitting at 147.5. I like the under. We did just cash on Michigan State's under in that round 1 matchup with Bryant. I like it again here. But I do like Michigan State. I like them on the side. I'm not sure, like I said, I could look at this like as a money line and parlay that with an alternate total. I'm not sure that I want to lay that many points with Michigan State because I do think this is a good New Mexico Lobo team, man. I really do. So it might be one where we look at an alternate spread with an alternate total as well and parlay that. Or maybe, like I said, we just play the total. So, yeah, like I said, double check and look into that pinned comment. But looking at the Ken Palms, we can see, like I said, this is a very good New Mexico team, man. They're 40th overall, 74th offensively. They're 18th defensively. And that's what I like about them. They play very solid defense. Michigan State sitting at 7th overall, 24th offensively, and 5th defensively. So you got 2 teams that are sitting in the top 20 for defense as far as the Ken Palm ratings are concerned. Now, full disclosure, this is what we got to be a little concerned with looking at this game and looking at an under, is New Mexico does play at a very fast pace. They sit at 6th in terms of adjusted tempo in the Ken Palms. But Michigan State is sitting at 148, and I think that they control this game, at least dictate the pace and how this one is played, right? They are the better team overall, and I do, like I said, I do like Michigan State. That's the side that I'm on, but I do think this game is going to be close. That's why a spread pick is I'm a little leery on that one. New Mexico, like I said, man, solid defense. And these two teams combined, they have played a total of 67 games this year. 42 of those games have hit the under. That's a 63% hit rate between both of these squads. So I definitely like that. New Mexico has seen the under hit in 4 of their last 5 games. The one game that the under didn't hit in those 5, it actually landed in a push. And then we've seen Michigan State hit the under in 8 of their last 10. Michigan State has also been made favorites in 27 games this year. The under has hit in 17 of those games. New Mexico has been a dog 7 times. The under is hit in 6 of those. And we'll just jump back over to our outlier. Check this out real quick, guys. In the last 10, both of these teams are hitting under at a 70% rate. And we can see that New Mexico has hit under this 148.5 line 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 straight times. I don't know why we popped over here to 148.5. I was looking at that at 147.5 at minus 105. I like that at minus 110, though. 148.5. I feel like that might give us a little more value there. We can get an extra point, and I like those minus 110 odds, man. Not much of a difference there, right, between minus 110 and minus 105. So that might be the way to go with this one here. If we're looking at it from a total perspective, it opened up at 147.5, and we see it moving up. So, moving in the opposite direction. I guess the books are looking at this and thinking this is going to be an over, but I'm leaning towards the under in this one. And then we can see this insight from Outlier as well. The under is hit in 6 of Michigan State's last 8 games that they have been made a favorite. That's a 75% hit rate to the under, 63% to this specific line, that 148.5, but 75% overall. 6 of the last 8 games have gone under. So I like this one. Like I said, it's sitting at minus 148.5, minus 110 at FanDuel, or you can get it for a little bit of a better price, or give you, a little bit of a better payout anyways, minus 105 at DraftKings if you want to look at that at under 147.5. So guys, that's going to wrap us up here for another video. I hope you guys enjoyed the content and found it helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash the like button right down there below. It definitely helps us out a ton, and we all 3 greatly appreciate it over here at the channel. That's going to do it, man. I hope we have a great Sunday. I hope you guys cash out. If you guys have some plays that you like that I didn't talk about, man, throw them down in the comments. Let's help each other out. Let's have a great little community of college basketball picks going down here through the tournament. Let's beat these books, man, because they've been beating me this week for sure, starting off in the tournament. So, man, let's get them back a little bit. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video.